The hum of the engine deck had always been comforting to Marcus Hale. A human mechanic born on the fringes of the Orion expanse, he thrived in the smell of grease, the hiss of hydraulics, the way the metal beneath his hands seemed to whisper its secrets if you knew how to listen. Today, though, something was wrong. The Aegis runner, his ship, battered and patched together over a decade of trading runs, was giving off a sound that didn't belong. At first, he thought it was just another loose panel rattling. But as he crouched beneath the hull, wrench in hand, the sound became unmistakable, a soft, deliberate breathing. Marcus froze. His eyes darted across the dimly lit maintenance tunnel. The hum of the ship's engines, usually rhythmic and predictable, seemed suddenly to waver, as if the vessel itself were holding its breath. Probably just a pocket of compressed air, he muttered, forcing his voice steady. Yet the sound persisted, low and rhythmic, not mechanical but living. He reached for the access panel, prying it loose. Sparks danced across his gloves as the corroded bolts protested. And then, he saw it. A pair of eyes. Golden, massive, intelligent. They reflected the pale white of the maintenance lights, flickering like molten gold. Marcus staggered back, heart hammering in his chest. He had expected rats. Maybe some stray alien vermin from a past trade stop. But not this. The creature's snout was long and scaled, and its wings, folded impossibly tight against its body, brushed the sides of the narrow hull tunnel. Chains, ancient and engraved with symbols Marcus didn't recognize, clinked as it moved, though it barely shifted. It was restrained, but it was alive, and it was aware. He swallowed, trying to calm his racing thoughts. Okay, he whispered. Just a trick of the light. It's not a dragon. A soft snort echoed through the hull, reverberating in the metal like a warning drum. Marcus's blood ran cold. Dragons weren't supposed to exist. Not in this galaxy, not in recorded history. They were myths, stories to entertain children and fill old holobooks. Yet here one was, trapped inside his ship. He took a careful step forward, eyes scanning the engravings on the chains. They pulsed faintly with energy, a subtle glow that seemed alive in its own right. Marcus reached out, brushing his fingers over the nearest link. The metal was warm, almost breathing beneath his touch, as though it had absorbed the dragon's heartbeat. The creature hissed softly, eyes narrowing, and Marcus flinched. A wave of something passed through him. Fear, yes, but also awe. And then, impossibly, understanding. The dragon seemed to study him as much as he studied it, its intelligence undeniable, its patience unyielding. Marcus stumbled backward, tripping over a tool cart. He landed hard against the wall of the hull, and a panel rattled loose, clattering to the floor. The dragon flinched, not with aggression, but with caution. Its wings twitched, scales shimmering under the dim lights. He breathed out, shakily. Who did this to you? The dragon's head tilted slightly, as if acknowledging the question. Then, before Marcus could react further, a strange sensation prickled his mind, an intrusion, subtle but undeniable. It's alive, and it's speaking. Not with words, not aloud, but directly. A voice inside his head, deep and resonant, like the echo of thunder in a distant canyon. Human, do you see the chains? Do you feel the cold of the metal that binds me? Marcus froze, clutching his head. I hear you, he whispered. You can talk. Yes. And I have waited. The voice was neither threatening nor kind, simply patient. Longer than your species has existed in this sector. The ones who bound me, they are gone, but their laws remain. Free me, and the galaxy will know fire. The warning hung in the air, thick as the metallic scent of the maintenance deck. Marcus shook his head, trying to push down the rising panic. He had dealt with derelict ships, hostile traders, and space pirates, but nothing like this. Okay, he said, voice firmer now, trying to anchor himself. Okay. I'll figure this out. The dragon's eyes narrowed. Its wings shivered. Chains rattled. Then silence. Marcus rose to his feet, every instinct screaming at him to run. Yet curiosity, stubborn, dangerous human curiosity, kept him rooted. He studied the chains again. Symbols etched deep into the links glowed faintly when his hand passed over them. Whoever had built this, had known what they were doing. They hadn't wanted just to contain a creature, they had wanted to control it. He could feel the weight of that decision pressing down on him. Free the dragon, and everything changes. Leave it, and perhaps the secret would die quietly. But Marcus already knew what his choice would be. He couldn't walk away, not now. And somewhere, deep within the dragon's golden eyes, Marcus felt a spark. Not just of life, but of destiny. Something that would not be contained, not by chains, not by the galaxy, not by him. He took a deep breath, and with trembling hands, touched the first link. The hum of the engine deck seemed to falter. Somewhere in the void, the stars held their breath. Because whatever Marcus Hale was about to do, would not go unnoticed. Marcus Hale's hands hovered over the chains, every nerve screaming at him to stop. The dragon's golden eyes followed him, unblinking, ancient intelligence simmering beneath its scales. The glow in the metal pulses softly as if alive, responding to his touch, reacting to his hesitation. One wrong move and the chains could shock him, or worse. He took a deep breath, the metallic tang of the maintenance deck filling his lungs. I need to know why you're here, he whispered. The dragon tilted its head, as if studying him, then exhaled a plume of smoke, thin and blue, curling lazily in the air vents. The warmth of it made Marcus flinch. The chains were unlike anything he had seen. Each link was etched with symbols that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. Letters, numbers, or perhaps runes, impossible to tell. They weren't just metal, they were alive with some kind of energy, humming faintly against his fingertips. The more he touched them, the more he felt the dragon's heartbeat thrumming through the metal, steady and deep. Then the voice came again, not aloud, but in his mind, resonant and calm. They called themselves the architects. They ruled before your kind even mapped this sector. They feared me, feared what I could do. And so they chained me, sealed me in your kind's primitive vessel. Your ship is fortuitous. Marcus staggered back, trying to digest the words. The architects? That's ancient history. Legends, myths. His fingers brushed another chain, and a jolt of warmth ran through his body. It wasn't pain, but it made him gasp. Alive, he realized. The metal itself was alive. Legends, yes. But I am not legend. And the chains are not simple metal. Each link is a key, a lock, a warning. Cut the wrong one, and your ship, and you, will burn. His pulse raced. Then how do I free you without destroying myself, or the ship? You must understand me first. The dragon's eyes glimmered like molten gold. I have been trapped for centuries, forced to witness the rise and fall of empires in silence. The architects left instructions buried in the chains themselves. Follow their logic. You have the skill of your kind, precision, patience. Perhaps, you can succeed where they failed. Marcus swallowed hard. He had spent years fixing ships, improvising when parts failed, making life in the expanse survivable. But this was a puzzle unlike any he had faced. Each chain seemed to react to his thoughts, twisting subtly under his touch. It was as though the dragon itself were guiding him, testing him, daring him. He began inspecting each link, tracing the strange symbols with his fingers, trying to discern a pattern. Hours passed, or maybe minutes, time lost meaning under the weight of his focus. The dragon remained still, watching silently, occasionally letting out a low rumble of approval or warning. Then Marcus noticed it, faint etchings beneath the main symbols. Hidden layers. Not just mechanical locks, but something else, ancient codes, embedded within the metal itself. He leaned closer, feeling the subtle vibration under his palm. Yes, you see it. Few mortals ever do. The voice was softer now, almost a whisper, brushing his thoughts like a shadow. These codes are the architect's last defense. One mistake, and the chains will trigger the fail-safes. Do you understand the risk? I understand, Marcus said, though doubt gnawed at him. He could feel the dragon's power, coiled like a storm, restrained only by the chains. The thought of releasing it terrified him. The thought of leaving it trapped, perhaps even more. He began manipulating the links, carefully aligning symbols, testing their responses. Sparks flew occasionally, tiny arcs of energy dancing between his gloves and the chains. The dragon's rumble grew deeper, almost approving. Marcus could feel its patience stretching, measuring him. Hours, or maybe days, passed. He lost track of time. Hunger, thirst, fatigue all became secondary to the task. Every unlocked chain was a victory, every spark a warning. Sweat streaked across his brow as he worked, nerves on edge. Finally, after what felt like eternity, Marcus reached the final chain. The etchings were complex, layered with energy he could almost feel pulsing under the metal. One wrong move, and everything could end in fire. He held his breath, glanced at the dragon, and nodded silently. The creature's golden eyes softened, and Marcus felt a wave of warmth radiate through the hull, through his very bones. You may proceed, it said simply, as if granting permission rather than issuing a command. Marcus pressed his hands against the last link, heart hammering. Sparks danced across the surface, but this time there was no jolt. The chain began to melt, glowing like molten gold before breaking with a sound that echoed like distant thunder through the hull. The dragon stretched slightly, testing its newfound freedom. Its wings unfurled with a sound that made the ship shudder. Smoke curled from its nostrils, and Marcus stumbled backward, shielding his eyes. It was magnificent, terrifying, and utterly alive. Finally, the voice resonated in his mind, calm but full of power. Freedom, and yet, danger follows. The architects are gone, but their successors wait. The galaxy will know the fire I bring. You, human, have awakened it. Marcus swallowed hard, staring at the dragon, awe and fear warring inside him. What happens now? He whispered. Now, survival. And choice. You may run, or you may stand. But know this, nothing will ever be the same. Beyond the hull, the stars seemed to flicker differently. Somewhere, deep in the void, fleets stirred, sensing the awakening. And Marcus Hale realized, with a cold certainty, that freeing the dragon had set in motion events that would ripple across the galaxy, unseen, unstoppable, and unforgiving. The first chains were broken. But the war was just beginning. Marcus Hale didn't sleep. Not really. The hum of the Aegis runner had returned to its usual rhythm, but it sounded different somehow, tenser, anticipating. He kept glancing at the dragon, coiled in the hull bay like a living monument of scales and fire, wings folded but massive even in restraint. The first real words came that night, but not aloud. Human. Marcus jerked upright, heart hammering. The voice was calm, deliberate, resonating directly inside his mind. No sound came from the dragon's throat, yet the message was undeniable. I'm here, he whispered, though he knew it didn't matter. You have done well. You freed me. Few mortals possess the patience to comprehend the chains, to feel the heartbeat beneath the metal. Marcus swallowed. His hands shook, adrenaline still coursing through him. Why me? Why now? Because the architects are gone. Because the galaxy has grown complacent. Because the chains were meant for a mind like yours, curious, persistent, human. He stared at the dragon, golden eyes reflecting the dim lights like molten sunlight. You speak, because I freed you. Because I choose to. The dragon's voice was sharp now, resonant like the tolling of a massive bell. I am bound by no master. Only by those who understand the cost of my release. You now bear that cost, Marcus Hale. He swallowed hard. Cost? I thought it was just freeing you. I didn't think. You are naive, yes. And human. But that is precisely why you survived this far. The architects were meticulous, calculating. They knew my power, and they feared it. They bound me to prevent what is coming. What's coming? Marcus whispered, fear coiling like steel around his ribs. War. Fire. The awakening of a force long hidden. I am the last of my kind, and my enemies still linger. Marcus's mind raced. Fleets? Ancient enemies? He had always known the Expanse was a dangerous place, pirates, rogue corporations, rival colonies, but this was something else. Something beyond law, beyond diplomacy, beyond even the most cunning mercenary. They will come, the dragon said softly, almost mournfully. And they will not stop until I am chained again, or dead. But I am free. And now, so are you. He swallowed, realizing the truth in those words. Marcus hadn't just released a creature, he had awakened a force capable of altering the balance of the galaxy. And now every being that feared it would know exactly where to look. Then, what do we do? His voice was barely audible. First, understand me. The dragon shifted slightly, wings brushing the hull. The movement was deliberate, careful, revealing the full extent of its size. It coiled its neck around itself like a spiral of molten gold, eyes fixed on him. I have lived through empires rising and falling. I have seen stars born and die. I have been chained to silence, watching mortals squabble over scraps of space. The architects feared me, yes, but there are others, newer, more dangerous. They will not wait. Marcus nodded, trying to absorb the enormity of what he was hearing. His hands, still marked by burns and scratches from the chains, trembled. I understand some of it. But I can't fight them. I'm just me. No. The dragon's tone sharpened, powerful, echoing in his mind. You are not just you. You freed me. That act alone makes you a player in this. Survival is a choice, not a gift. You can run, yes, but the galaxy is small, and my enemies are patient. Marcus's stomach sank. Enemies, how many? Enough to fill fleets, enough to command powers you cannot comprehend. They are not all mortal, nor are they all alive as you know life. They wait, lurking in the corners of the galaxy, watching, learning. And now, they know I am free. The words hit him like a blast from a plasma cannon. Pirates and rogue traders were one thing. This was a level of danger that made every risk he had ever taken seem trivial. He swallowed hard, the metal of the hull cold beneath his palms. Then, what do we do first? We prepare. We move. We test their reach. The dragon's tone softened, almost reflective. But know this, every step you take with me will change the galaxy. You have awakened not just a creature, but a force. And forces like me, cannot be ignored. Marcus nodded slowly. His mind was racing with calculations, contingency plans, ship modifications, anything that might help him survive what was coming. He had been a mechanic, a fixer of broken things. Now, he was a guardian, a catalyst, a single human thrust into the eye of a storm he could barely comprehend. Do not fear me, the dragon said. I do not fear you. But I do not forgive weakness. If we survive, it will be because you act with purpose, and because you understand what I am. He swallowed, looking at the glowing golden eyes, the immense wings, the power coiled in the dragon's body. I understand. I'll do my best. Your best will have to suffice. Somewhere beyond the hull, deep in the void, Marcus thought he saw stars flicker differently, distant fleets stirring as though alerted to the dragon's freedom. The galaxy, unaware of what had awakened within the maintenance bay of the Aegis runner, was already shifting. Marcus Hale, a human mechanic, had just become the guardian of a being powerful enough to reshape the stars. And the first warnings of the galaxy's response were already beginning. The dragon uncurled its neck, wings flexing. Smoke trailed from its nostrils, curling in the dim lights of the hull bay. The architects are gone. The rest are waiting. And somewhere in the darkness, Marcus knew the first ripple of what he had unleashed was already moving toward him. Marcus Hale stared at the viewscreen, the stars stretching infinitely into the void, but something was wrong. Patterns that had once been predictable, trade lanes, patrol routes, static sensor fields, were twitching, fluctuating like nervous pulses. Fleets were moving, distant dots lighting up on his sensors, yet none of them were responding to him personally. They were reacting to it. The dragon coiled in the hull bay, scales shimmering faintly, wings tucked close, watching him with those molten eyes. Its breathing was slow and deliberate, each exhale a reminder of the immense power trapped, and now freed, inside the ship. They sense me, the dragon said, voice resonating in Marcus's mind. The galaxy has been waiting. My chains were not only to bind me, they were a signal to those who would claim my power. And now, the signal has been answered. Marcus clenched his fists. How many are coming? He asked, though the answer terrified him. Enough to challenge fleets. Enough to ignite war. They are not unified, not yet, but they are many, and they are patient. The first strike came almost immediately. A distant blip appeared on the long-range sensors, moving with unnatural precision, almost as if it anticipated his moves before he even made them. The Aegis runner shuddered as a pulse of energy struck the outer hull, hard, deliberate. Not an attack meant to destroy yet, but a warning. Marcus's mind raced. He ran diagnostics, trying to calculate evasive maneuvers, shielding adjustments, anything to buy time. What is that? He asked, glancing at the dragon. Hunters, it replied. They do not fear you. They fear me. And they will test the bounds of your resolve before attempting to claim what they cannot understand. The Aegis runner groaned as the pulse grazed the hull again. Panels sparkled and twisted, systems flickered, and Marcus's heart sank. He had thought of himself as a skilled mechanic, a fixer of broken things, but now he was trying to keep a ship alive against unseen enemies who had spent lifetimes studying beings like the one coiled behind him. We move, the dragon said, its tone sharp. I can guide you, but you must act. Marcus swallowed and flipped switches, rerouting power to engines and shields while the dragon's massive claws brushed the hull to stabilize the ship. Sparks flew from the outer plating where its wings brushed against sensitive conduits, yet the Aegis runner remained intact. Its systems hummed, struggling, but alive. The next hours were a blur of evasive maneuvers. Blips appeared on the sensors, multiple now, moving faster than any patrol fleet Marcus had ever encountered. The first fleets of hunters were probing him, not attacking outright, but testing, mapping, seeking weakness. They were precise, calculating, and merciless. They think I am vulnerable, the dragon murmured. They will learn differently. Marcus felt the heat radiate from the dragon as it shifted, claws scraping the hull as it prepared to strike. With a sudden motion, it extended its wings, and the ship trembled as if some invisible force surged through it. The first fleet blip wavered, and Marcus watched in awe as energy lances of unknown origin deflected and scattered, sensors reading anomalies he couldn't identify. The dragon's power was not merely physical, it was a force that bent space around the ship, protecting, redirecting, controlling. This isn't just a dragon, Marcus whispered, or creeping into his fear. This is something else entirely. Correct, the dragon said, almost amused. I am the last of my kind, and the galaxy has forgotten the rules. You will learn quickly, the humans who survive such storms must. The fleets closed in, now aggressive. The first direct attack struck the Aegis runner near the aft engines. Explosions rippled through the hull, alarms blaring. Marcus ducked, heart hammering, hands working faster than ever. Sparks, fire, and twisted metal erupted around him. Focus, the dragon's voice commanded in his mind. Do not panic. Survival is calculated, not hoped for. It was impossible to ignore the dragon's presence now. Its energy flowed through the ship like liquid fire, shields bending around it, engines responding with a synchronicity Marcus could barely understand. Together, they became more than man and ship, they became a single entity, a force moving through the chaos of the void. Blips on the sensor grid began to disappear, as the hunters recoiled, confused by the strange distortions around the Aegis runner. Marcus realized something terrifying and exhilarating. The dragon's release wasn't just a threat. It was a revelation. Any fleet that tried to engage it without understanding what they were facing would pay for their arrogance. This is only the beginning, the dragon said, voice low, almost a growl now. The galaxy will react. And when it does, they will come in force. You have survived the first test. But survival is not victory. Marcus wiped sweat from his brow, heart racing. The Aegis runner floated through the aftermath of the attack, scorched but intact. Outside, distant stars glimmered, fleets repositioning, calculating. Somewhere out there, powerful eyes were watching, taking note of the human who had dared to free a dragon. He glanced at the dragon, its golden eyes gleaming, wings partially unfurled, smoke curling from its nostrils. We are not safe. But we are alive. And alive, we will fight. Marcus took a deep breath, realizing the truth. Freeing the dragon had done more than awaken power. It had ignited the first spark of war across the galaxy. The next battle would not wait. And Marcus Hale, the human mechanic, would be at its center. Marcus Hale had never considered himself a hero. He was a mechanic, a fixer, a man who understood the language of machines better than people. Yet here he was, staring at the void, heart pounding, as a human fleet and something older, something terrifying, approached him. The Aegis runner trembled under the combined strain of its engines and the dragon coiled in the hull bay. Its golden eyes glimmered in the dim light, wings partially unfurled, scales glittering like molten metal. Every nerve in Marcus's body screamed to run, to hide, to pretend none of this was happening. But he knew he couldn't. Not anymore. They are coming, the dragon said, voice resonating directly in his mind. The hunters, the claimants, the opportunists. They seek me, but they will also take you. You must choose now, fight, or flee. Marcus swallowed, hands gripping the console. And if I fight? Then we shape the galaxy together. The first fleet emerged from hyperspace, dozens of ships, sleek, angular, bristling with weapons designed to pierce shields and crush hulls. Marcus's sensors screamed at him, alarms blaring. The dragon shifted, scales scraping the hull, smoke rising from its nostrils. Do not underestimate them, it warned. But do not fear them either. Fire with me, and you may survive. Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline. He had never fired a weapon in combat, yet instinct took over. He guided the Aegis runner in tight evasive loops, rerouted power to shields, and felt the dragon's energy flow through the hull. Sparks danced across panels, engines roared, and the ship responded to commands as if it had a mind of its own. The first volley struck. Plasma lances arced toward the ship, slicing through empty space with lethal precision. The dragon extended its wings fully, energy flaring along its scales. A pulse emanated from it, invisible yet palpable, scattering the enemy projectiles. Marcus could feel the resonance through his hands, a raw power that no human machine should survive. Now, human. The dragon commanded. Marcus hit the firing controls, sending counterlances from the Aegis runner toward the fleet. He barely understood how the systems had been modified, he hadn't modified them. The dragon had. The energy followed his commands, bending reality around the ship. One by one, the enemy ships faltered, shields overloading, weapons melting, their formations breaking as if invisible hands were tearing through them. Good. Keep moving. Predict their moves, they are clever, but not infinite, the dragon said. Hours, or maybe minutes, passed in a blur of chaos and light. The void became a storm of energy and metal, human ingenuity pushed to its limit, guided by the raw, uncontainable force of the dragon. Marcus's mind raced with every calculation, every evasive maneuver, every strike. He realized something impossible. He and the dragon were becoming one entity. Thought and action, instinct and raw power, human and dragon, intertwined. Then the lead ship of the enemy fleet broke formation, a massive dreadnought designed to crush anything in its path. It fired a concentrated beam, tearing through space toward the Aegis runner. Marcus froze for a fraction of a second, knowing a hit would destroy them both. Watch and learn, the dragon murmured. It leapt from the hull, wings spreading wide, energy coursing along its body. A blast of fire erupted, not like any flame Marcus had ever seen, swirling in a vortex of light and heat. The dreadnought's beam disintegrated before it reached them, evaporated by the dragon's raw power. Enemy ships scattered, unable to comprehend the force they had unleashed. Marcus's heart raced. He had survived attacks, outmaneuvered fleets, felt the breath of death in the void, but this was something else entirely. The dragon was unstoppable, but it was not reckless. It moved with purpose, precision, and intelligence, protecting him even as it laid waste to the enemy. They will regroup, the dragon warned. But you have shown me your courage. You have chosen not to flee, not to hide. That makes you, my ally. Marcus swallowed, awe and fear mingling in his chest. I don't know if I can do this forever, he admitted, voice tight. You don't have to. Not alone. And you won't. The remaining enemy ships retreated, their fleets battered, systems fried, morale broken. Marcus watched them disappear into the void, realizing the truth, the galaxy had been shaken. A single human, a single dragon, had changed the balance of power. The dragon landed, wings folding, smoke curling from its nostrils. It lowered its head to Marcus's level, eyes intense but calm. The architects feared me, yes. But they did not account for humanity. You freed me, human, and together we have done what empires could not. But this is only the beginning. Others will come. And next time, they may not flee so easily. Marcus nodded, trembling but resolute. Then we fight. Together. Good, the dragon said, voice like molten steel. The galaxy will burn, and we will decide its shape. Marcus Hale, a mechanic from the fringes of the Orion expanse, had become something more, the first human to stand beside a dragon, to challenge the galaxy itself. And the stars, silent witnesses to the chaos, seemed to burn a little brighter in acknowledgement. For the first time in centuries, the dragon stretched its wings fully, filling the hull bay with impossible light, fire, and power. Marcus realized, with both awe and fear, that nothing would ever be the same again. The galaxy had awakened. And so had they.